Recap of Fauda Season 2, Episode 1 in English, spoilers ahead. Fauda Season 2, Episode 1, Recap. Setup and premise. At the beginning of Season 2, it's revealed that a Palestinian militant who was believed to have been killed 18 months earlier is in fact alive. This discovery forces Doran Kabilio, played by Lior Raz, out of retirement. He returns to active duty, rejoining his old team to hunt down this militant and finish what was never completed. The team's mission is not just military but personal. This enemy wants revenge against Doran himself. Key events and tensions. 1. Remobilizing the team. Doran reconnects with his old unit. The dynamics are tense. Some members question whether he should return, given the dangers in his past. In the first episode summary, Doran joins his old team for an operation. The target is ambitious. This militant is organizing bomb attacks and is determined to upend the region's stability. 2. New antagonist, Al-Magdi. The season introduces a new adversary, Nidal, Al-Magdi, whose motivations are rooted in grief and vengeance. He is positioning himself to challenge both sides, Israel and local militant organizations, e.g. Hamas. Al-Magdi's power and audacity make him unusually dangerous. He is not content to hide behind conventional militant tactics. 3. Conflict and moral complexities. The episode shows how Doran is emotionally burdened by returning to conflict. His personal life is strained, he has internal struggles tied to loss, relationships, and his identity as an agent. There is tension between revenge and justice. Doran and his team must balance operational ethics and the dangers of acting on personal motives. 4. Climactic operation setup. The episode likely culminates in a covert operation to strike against Magdi's network. While summaries are limited, the first episode's description suggests an active operation is launched. The fallout sets the stage, alliances shift, trust is tested, and the team confronts how dangerous this new enemy is compared to threats in Season 1. Themes and character arcs. Return from retirement. Doran's re-entry is not simple. He carries pain, guilt, and the ghosts of past missions into this new season. Revenge versus reason. Magdi's vendetta against Doran becomes a central axis of conflict. The season frames revenge as a force that can corrupt and escalate violence. Gray morality in warfare. The boundaries between hero and aggressor blur. Both sides commit morally ambiguous acts. Loyalties and betrayal. Personal loyalties among teammates, families, lovers come under strain as the mission intensifies. Recap of Fauda Season 2, Episode 2 in English. Spoilers ahead. Fauda Season 2, Episode 2, Recap and Key Beats. Episode title, Synopsis hint. According to Rotten Tomatoes, tensions rise on both sides as Doran's team intensifies its hunt and Abu Samra hands Al-Magdi an ultimatum. Shuran faces tough questions. IMDb summary says, Al-Magdi refuses to let go. His attempts to harm Doran and his team lead him into conflict with Hamas political leadership and with Walid. Resulting from Al-Magdi's action, Shuran is taken for questioning. Major plot developments and scenes. 1. Escalating Hunt for Magdi. Doran and his unit intensify their operations to locate Al-Magdi, Nidal, who was thought dead. They work under pressure, moving faster, deploying more resources, and pressing intelligence channels to trace his network. The team's increased activity heightens tensions in the region. Militants and political actors alike sense a shifting power struggle. 2. Abu Samara's ultimatum to Magdi. Abu Samara, a powerful militant leader, issues a stern ultimatum to Magdi. He warns that Magdi must curb his violence or face consequences, even from within his own movement. He is trying to reassert control over the chaos Magdi is creating. This confrontation with Abu Samara places Magdi in conflict not just with Doran's team, but with Hamas's internal politics, threatening his autonomy. 3. Shuran's interrogation and pressure. Because of Magdi's actions and his proximity to Doran's team, Shuran is drawn under scrutiny. Her connections and possible involvement become suspect. She is taken in for questioning. Doran, knowing Shuran is vulnerable, must balance operational integrity with his emotional concern for her safety. The episode emphasizes her precarious position between both sides. 4. Conflict with Walid and political strains. Magdi's actions spark a rift with Walid, who holds a leadership role in Hamas's military wing. Walid confronts Magdi's rogue approach and seeks to pull him back into more controlled strategy. The internal pressure from Hamas leadership causes Magdi to reassess or double down. He refuses to let go of his vendetta, even under threat from within his own ranks. 5. Personal stakes and tension. Doran deals with the emotional weight of returning to conflict. Shuran is caught between her past and the danger that being close to Doran brings upon her. The episode displays how operations affect not just field agents but their personal relationships. The strain is visible in looks, hesitation, and choices made under duress. The confrontation between Magdi and Abu Samara shows that the war is as much political and ideological as it is physical. Themes and takeaways. Revenge versus order. Magdi's quest for vengeance clashes with more pragmatic leadership who seek control and stability. Vulnerability of allies. Shuran's role highlights how collateral damage can affect delicate allegiances in this conflict. Double fronts. Doran's team fights not only militant threats but also political and internal divisions on both sides. Moral ambiguity. The episode blurs lines. Leaders, fighters, and victims all make questionable choices under pressure. Recap of Fauda Season 2, Episode 3 in English with spoilers. Fauda Season 2, Episode 3, Recap. Episode title, Synopsis. According to Rotten Tomatoes, Episode 3 is described as, rebuked by Walid, Al-Magdi doubles down on his renegade plan to exact revenge. Doran goes rogue during an operation to offer Shuran a way out. IMDb adds that Al-Magdi's family, Walid, and Hamas leadership urge him to back off, but he persists, even risking a clash with Walid. Doran's team is in turmoil due to his violent actions. Major plot beats and developments. 1. Magdi pressured from all sides. In this episode, Al-Magdi Nidal faces internal pressure. His family, Walid, and the Hamas leadership strongly caution him against further escalation. They see his actions as reckless and destabilizing. However, Magdi is determined. He views the warnings as weakness and resolves to continue with his vendetta, regardless of internal opposition. 2. Doran acts rogue. Doran's approach becomes more aggressive and autonomous. He undertakes an operation outside of his usual constraints to offer Shuran a chance to escape the danger surrounding her. This shows how emotionally invested he is in protecting her. His departure from protocol alarms some in his unit. There is unrest and unease over how far he will go. 3. Conflict with Walid and leadership. The tension between Magdi and Walid grows. Walid perceives Magdi's radical path as threatening to both the movement's legitimacy and internal order. The episode foreshadows a schism in loyalties. Magdi's disregard for the Council of Elders underscores his fanaticism and sets him up as a rogue actor rather than a disciplined militant. 4. Emotional and moral stakes increase. Shuran's situation becomes more precarious. The fact that Doran is willing to deviate from orders to protect her highlights the personal risks she faces. Doran himself is shown to be pushed to a breaking point. His personal motivations for Shuran, for vengeance, now bleed into his professional judgment. The fissures in the militant side, internal conflict, family pressure also expose how ideology, grief, and vengeance can drive people to extremity. Themes and takeaways. Radicalization and obsession. Magdi is consumed by his revenge mission. Others see him as a liability, but he persists. Duty versus loyalty. Doran's loyalty to Shuran conflicts with his duty to protocol and team cohesion. His rogue moves test the boundaries. Internal conflict. The episode highlights that threats often come from within. Magdi's clash with Hamas leadership demonstrates that internal discipline is as fragile as external resistance. Emotional battleground. Conflict is not only physical but emotional. Loyalties, love, fear, betrayal intertwine. Recap of Fauda Season 2, Episode 4 in English. Spoilers ahead. Fauda Season 2, Episode 4, Recap and Key Developments. Synopsis and Overview. According to Rotten Tomatoes, in this episode, Nidal's plan takes an unexpected lethal turn and backs him into a corner. Shuran reaches out to Doran, putting them both at risk. On IMDb, the summary notes, Al-Magdi's operation doesn't go as planned, which causes a rift between him and Hamas leadership. Doran's violation of orders results in serious consequences. So this episode is pivotal. Magdi's ambitions collide with internal limits, and Doran's actions become more volatile. Main plot beats and scenes. 1. Magdi's operation unravels. Nidal Magdi executes a bold plan intended to strike at Doran's side, but things go awry. His scheme backfires in a lethal way, burying him in complications. The failure triggers backlash. Hamas leadership questions his methods, and Walid and other figures begin to see Magdi as a liability rather than an asset. 2. Rift with Hamas leadership and Walid. After the plan's lethal misstep, tensions mount between Magdi and Hamas leadership. The internal structure is shaken. Those who supported him or gave tacit approval distance themselves. Walid, in particular, is forced to confront how far Magdi's methods threaten collective safety and the movement's legitimacy. This sets up internal conflict. 3. Doran's rule violation and fallout. Doran, already under emotional and moral strain, violates orders from his superiors, specifically Eli's order to act in a way he believes is necessary. This leads to a serious reaction from command. His insubordination deepens suspicions among his own team. Is he acting as a soldier or a man consumed by vengeance? 4. Shuran reaches out, increasing risk. Recognizing danger and isolation, Shuran reaches out to Doran. Her willingness to contact him escalates the risk for both. Her involvement becomes more pronounced. This reach strains boundaries. Are they allies, sympathizers, or each other's liability? 5. Emotional pressure and personal exposure. Throughout the episode, the emotional stakes heighten. Magdi's ambition, Doran's protectiveness, Shuran's exposure, they're all balancing on fragile lines. Magdi's error reveals vulnerabilities. He is not infallible, and the cost of his escalation is becoming obvious, even to those who once supported him. Doran's relationships with team, with Shuran, with command fray as his responses grow riskier. 6. Cliffhanger and turning tides. The episode ends with Magdi cornered, his strategic position weakened, his supporters shifting, his next move uncertain. For Doran and his team, the command structure is wary. Doran's defiance may isolate him or force a reckoning. Shuran's outreach sets up possible betrayal, reconciliation, or tragic consequences in future episodes. Themes and interpretation. Ambition versus restraint. Magdi's aggressive goals clash with the reality of political and organizational constraints. Order versus chaos. Doran's team struggles to maintain discipline as personal vendettas and emotional motivations threaten to override protocol. Risk of exposure. Shuran's involvement in Doran's rule-breaking lay bare how close the characters are to tipping beyond redemption. Internal conflict. The greatest danger sometimes comes from within, as allies question each other's methods, loyalty, and vision. Recap of Fauda Season 2, Episode 5, spoilers ahead. Fauda Season 2, Episode 5, recap and key beats. Episode title overview. On Rotten Tomatoes, the episode is summarized as, Doran scrambles to protect his family when Nidal gets too close, Shuran puts a dangerous plan in motion, Walid learns some distressing news. On TVMaze, the listing also cites, a senior Israeli officer tries to smoke Abu Ahmad out of hiding. Ali fights suspicions of duplicity, and Boaz joins the squad on a risky ambush, though this more closely matches an earlier season listing. From these sources and context from earlier episodes, here are the major developments and narrative arcs in Episode 5. Major plot developments and scenes. 1. Threat to Doran's family. Nidal Magdi closes in closer to Doran's world, literally. He begins to threaten Doran's family, or place them in danger by proximity or infiltration. The phrase, Doran scrambles to protect his family, suggests the episode centers on the vulnerabilities of his home. This escalation forces Doran to act defensively, shifting part of the narrative from offense, hunting Magdi to protection and safeguarding what he holds dear. 2. Shuran's dangerous plan. Shuran, increasingly a key character in this season, takes a bold and risky step. The dangerous plan in motion implies she is no longer passively caught between sides, she's choosing agency, and that plan likely carries high risk for herself and others. Her plan may involve acting behind the scenes, aiding Doran, or attempting to counter Magdi's influence. Given her proximity to both sides, her moves are especially precarious. 3. Walid receives bad news, internal pressure. Walid, who in Season 2 holds significant power in Hamas's military wing, is confronted with distressing revelations. This news may relate to Magdi's rise, betrayals within the organization, or leaked information that undermines his authority. This tension likely forces Walid to recalibrate his allegiances or make tough decisions about Magdi. 4. Increased danger and tension. The sum of these strands, Doran's family being threatened, Shuran's risky plan, Walid's uncertainties, raises the stakes. Each move is sharper, more volatile. The episode likely involves confrontational moments, close calls, and perhaps action sequences, interceptions, raids, threats to safe houses. Doran's dual role as agent and protector is more sharply tested. He must juggle offense and defense, strategy and emotion. Themes and interpretation. Vulnerability and home front. This episode spotlights that even skilled operatives have vulnerable personal lives. The boundary between battlefield and home is thinner than ever. Agency and risk. Shuran's turning point, choosing to act, despite danger, underscores how characters evolve under pressure. Power and reputation. Walid's role reflects the tension between leadership and legitimacy. How far will he tolerate Magdi's rogue behavior before acting? Sacrifice and consequence. Doran's efforts to protect his family will come with trade-offs. Actions in the field may expose more danger to his loved ones. Recap of Fauda Season 2, Episode 6, with spoilers. Fauda Season 2, Episode 6, Recap and Highlights. Synopsis. According to Rotten Tomatoes, the episode synopsis is, seeing a chance to strike, Nidal regroups and leads a nighttime raid. While Walid faces interrogation, Doran takes Shuran under his wing. Metacritic confirms that after a prior failed operation, the characters regroup and tensions rise. Key plot beats and developments. 1. Magdi Nidal regroups and launches a night raid. After an earlier setback, Nidal, Magdi, does not retreat. Instead, he reorganizes his forces and mounts a nighttime assault aimed at destabilizing Doran's team or striking a strategic target. This raid underscores his resolve. Even with internal and external pressure, he's still willing to risk action. 2. Walid under interrogation pressure. Walid faces serious scrutiny. His position is fragile, and leadership or opposing factions put him to the test. The interrogation or pressure suggests that his loyalty or involvement with Magdi is under suspicion. This moment is pivotal. Walid must navigate being a bridge between Magdi's ambitions and Hamas leadership, under risk of exposure. 3. Doran protects and mentors Shuran. Doran takes Shuran under his wing, in this episode, indicating that he tries to shield her from danger and guide her more actively in the conflict. Their bond deepens, and Doran's protective behavior underscores the emotional stakes he has invested in her safety and survival. 4. Aftermath of previous failures. The nighttime raid is not just an offensive move, it is a response to earlier operational failures. The team is under pressure to reclaim initiative, rebuild morale, and show that they can still act. The episode likely includes scenes of planning, tension among team members, and ramifications of past losses. Themes and character dynamics. Resilience and escalation. Nidal's decision to strike again reflects how adversaries often escalate rather than retreat when pressed. Trust under examination. Walid's interrogation points to the fragile nature of trust in this conflict. Even leaders can be questioned. Mentorship and protection. Doran's role with Shuran shows his shift from pure operator to guardian, recognizing that those close to him are also in harm's way. Morality versus duty. Doran's protective impulse may conflict with mission discipline. Balancing what is right versus what is necessary is increasingly complex. Recap of Fauda Season 2, Episode 7, Episode number 2.7. Spoilers ahead. Fauda S2E7, Recap and Key Developments. Synopsis Overview. Per Rotten Tomatoes, Nidal defends his new allegiance to Samir. Captain Aub blackmails Abu Samara into helping him lay a trap. Sagi's nerves jeopardize a mission. Per Metacritic, Doran realizes that his family is in danger, and decides to take action. Despite Walid's intentions, Magdi decides to help him. Doran and Shuran's IMDb episode listing. Walid is suspended from Hamas and Magdi sees the opportunity to try and replace him. In the meantime, Aov takes advantage of Abu Samara's weakness and plans an intricate action in the Nablus Kasbah. So, Episode 7 is a turning point. Internal conflicts escalate, emotional stakes rise, and the balance of power shifts. Major plot beats and scenes. 1. Walid suspended, political upheaval. Hamas leadership suspends Walid's authority or role, citing his inability to control Magdi's increasingly radical actions. This leaves a vacuum in leadership. Al-Magdi Nidal seizes this as an opportunity. He attempts to position himself to replace Walid or to expand his influence within militant ranks. 2. Nidal defends his allegiance to Samir. Nidal must publicly defend or justify his loyalty or alliance to Samir, another militant. His decisions and loyalties are being questioned, and he must show he is committed, not opportunistic. His defense is both political and personal. He needs to maintain credibility among militants while advancing his plan. 3. Captain Aub blackmails Abu Samara, trap plans. Captain Aub manipulates Abu Samara, a senior militant figure, using leverage or threats, forcing him to cooperate in laying a trap, likely for Doran or his team. The trap is intended to corner or expose opposing forces. The involvement of Abu Samara indicates cracks within the militant alliance. 4. Sagi's nerves threaten the mission. Sagi, one of the operative team members on Doran's side, is under psychological, emotional pressure. His nerves or doubts begin to affect his performance, putting a mission at risk. This internal fragility underlines how even the heroes are pushed to their limits by the stakes and strain of prolonged conflict. 5. Doran and family threat reaction. Doran realizes that his family is being threatened, either by proximity, exposure, or that Magdi's escalation will bring danger to domestic life. Metacritic's summary specifically mentions this. He decides to take more direct action, presumably altering his tactics, mobilizing resources, or protecting his loved ones more aggressively. 6. Strategic shifts in alliances. Magdi gives stronger backing to his plan now that Walid is weakened. His ambition grows bolder. Abu Samara's role becomes more pivotal because Aub's blackmail forces him into cooperation he may not fully trust. The internal power dynamics among militants shift dramatically. New alliances, betrayals, and strategic gambits emerge. Themes and interpretation. Power vacuums and opportunity. Walid's suspension highlights how leadership vacuums are exploited by ambitious rivals. Loyalty versus ambition. Nidal must navigate the delicate balance between maintaining loyalty to Samir, to his cause while pushing forward radical plans. Fragility of operatives. The portrayal of Sagi's nerves under stress emphasizes that even the most stalwart agents can crack under pressure. Family and war's reach. Doran's awareness of danger to his domestic life reminds us that war extends beyond battlefields, into homes, relationships, and emotional realms. Shifting alliances and intrigue. The blackmail, trap setting, and shifting loyalties show that every actor is maneuvering, not just the good guys and bad guys, but those in between. Recap of Fauda Season 2, Episode 8 with spoilers. Fauda S2E8, Recap and Key Developments. Basic Episode Info, Synopsis. According to Rotten Tomatoes, after discovering Nidal's true loyalties, Abu Mar joins in the effort to track him down. Captain Aub and Nair escalate their plan to break Walid. Metacritic's summary adds, Doran realizes that his family is in danger, and decides to take action. Despite Walid's intentions, Al-Magdi decides to help him. IMDb notes, Shuran must leave the country and part from Doran. Their relationship deepens emotionally, but external pressures mount. This episode is pivotal. Loyalties are exposed, alliances shift, and emotional stakes intensify. Major plot beats and scenes. 1. Revelation of Nidal's true loyalties. A turning point. Key players realize that Nidal, Al-Magdi, has loyalties or intentions that differ from what many believed. His hidden agenda becomes more exposed. RT synopsis. Discovery of his true loyalties. Because of this, Abu Mar, a militant figure connected to Hamas, takes serious steps. He joins the effort to hunt down or limit Nidal's influence. This is a sign that even among militants, Nidal is becoming isolated. 2. Captain Aub and Nair escalate against Walid. On the Israeli internal front, Captain Aub, a security military figure, and Nair, from Doran's side, accelerate their plans to undermine or break Walid, whose position and control are under threat. The pressure on Walid grows from multiple sides: his former allies, the militants, dissenters, and Israeli operations. 3. Doran senses danger to his family. Doran becomes aware that his family is now in the crosshairs. His home life is no longer safe, and the conflict that was largely external is intruding into his private sphere. Metacritic's summary specifically mentions this. Doran realizes that his family is in danger, and decides to take action. With that awareness comes urgency. Doran must make tactical choices that balance protecting loved ones with pursuing the mission. 4. Shuran's departure and emotional separation. Shuran is forced to leave the country, parting ways with Doran. Though circumstances force this, both characters realize they share a bond deeper than either had fully acknowledged. The separation is painful and underscores the risks of their growing connection. Doran and Shuran's emotional arc deepens. This separation is not just physical but symbolic of how the war intrudes into personal lives. 5. Character reflections and shifts. Even Amos, Doran's father, becomes more aware of Shuran's presence in their lives. He begins to appreciate how important her role is, especially as Doran faces mounting danger. The episode's events shift alliances and expose characters for who they truly are: those willing to act, those forced to retreat, and those caught in between. 6. Cliffhangers and tension for next episode. The episode ends with multiple threads unresolved: Nidal's agenda, Walid's weakening power, and Doran's family's safety. With Shuran gone and Doran alert to danger, the path ahead is fraught with uncertainty, vengeance, and sacrifice. Themes and takeaways. Loyalty versus betrayal. Nidal's hidden loyalties bring distrust among militants, trust fractures in both camps. Conflict enters home. Doran's family is no longer a safe zone, war follows into domestic life. Sacrifice for love. Shuran's departure underscores how political conflict forces painful personal choices. Power shifts. Walid's control unravels under pressure from both internal dissent and external operations. Emotional toll. The emotional weight on Doran, Shuran, and supporting characters is high. War is not just bullets and bombs, but hearts torn apart. Recap of Fauda Season 2, Episode 9 in English. Spoilers ahead. Fauda S2E9, Recap and Key Moments. Title: Synopsis. Rotten Tomatoes describes: with Doran grieving a loss, Shuran faces tough questions and the team carries out a rogue operation to get answers. Nidal sends Mar on a mission. The IMDb episode listing notes: El Makdessi's attack weighs heavily on Doran and Shuran's relationship, and she's taken back to the Shabak for further interrogation on her involvement. While Doran is grieving, Nair finds another opportunity for intel breakthrough. So in Episode 9, grief, suspicion, and covert operations collide. The episode heightens tension across both sides. Major plot beats and developments. 1. Aftermath of Makdessi's attack and Doran's grief. The fallout from Nidal Makdessi's recent violence is acute. The attack has left both emotional and operational scars. Doran is shown dealing with grief, presumably over loss, could be of a team member or collateral. The burden of his emotional state affects his decisions. His grief undermines a clear mind, but he is compelled to act, knowing that hesitation will cost lives or momentum. 2. Shuran under fire. Interrogation and suspicion. Shuran finds herself under intense scrutiny. Because of her associations in proximity to key figures, doubts are cast on her loyalty or involvement. She is taken to the Shabak, Israeli Internal Security, for questioning. The interrogation is not just legal, it is deeply personal and emotional. Shuran must defend her integrity, while under pressure from Doran's unit, opposing forces, and her own internal conflicts. 3. A rogue operation by Doran's team. To get answers about Nidal, about Shuran's involvement, about looming conspiracies, Doran's team undertakes a rogue operation, acting without full sanction. The goal is to gather critical intelligence and test lines of trust. This operation is risky. Forces are acting without full clearance, operating in gray zones. Success might provide vindication, failure could deepen divisions or expose vulnerabilities. 4. Nidal sends Mar on a mission. In parallel, Nidal al-Makdessi sends Mar, a less prominent militant or operative, on a mission. The purpose may be diversion, sabotage, or gathering leverage. This move signals that Nidal is diversifying his tactics and delegating critical tasks, widening the pressure across fronts. Mars' mission will either bolster Nidal's control or possibly backfire. Either way, it heightens tension and unpredictability. 5. Nayar's intel breakthrough. Amid this chaos, Nayar, a member of Doran's side, finds an opportunity for an intelligence breakthrough, something previously hidden, a weak point, or a key lead. This could be documentation, intercepted communications, or a captured piece of evidence. The breakthrough adds hope and direction to a mission clouded by grief and doubt. The episode suggests that while emotional turmoil threatens to paralyze, operational momentum must persist. Themes and character arcs. Grief and duty. Doran is caught between mourning and the imperative to act. His grief is not weakness, it's part of the burden of command, but it risks clouding judgment. Trust under siege. Shuran's interrogation highlights how fragile alliances and trust are in war. Those close to power are often targets of suspicion. Loyalty and manipulation. Nidal's decision to dispatch Mars shows his expanding maneuvering. He tests loyalties, uses his followers as tools or shields. Sacrifice and risk. The rogue operation underscores that heroism often means acting without safety nets. The characters operate under constant threat. Information is power. Nayar's breakthrough represents the central truth of intelligence warfare: information is as lethal as bullets. The one who gathers secrets often gains advantage. Recap of Fauda Season 2, Episode 10, with spoilers. Fauda Season 2, Episode 10, Recap and Key Developments. Episode title and synopsis. The Rotten Tomatoes summary says, worried that Doran is sinking into despair, the team rallies to galvanize him to action. Samir confronts Nidal. Abu Mar makes a discovery. IMDb adds, intel extracted from Waleed enables barbershop operation to proceed. Doran is consumed with grief and struggling to overcome it, until his team encourage him to act. Metacritic similarly notes, Doran realizes that his family is in danger, and decides to take action. Despite Waleed's intentions, Al-Makdisi decides to help him. Doran and Shuran's. So this episode is pivotal. Doran is at a low point, but external pressures force him to move again. The barbershop operation becomes central, and alliances or discoveries shift the balance. Major plot beats and scenes. 1. Doran consumed with grief. Team encourages action. After the devastating events of previous episodes, Doran is deeply affected. The weight of loss and emotional wounds push him toward despair. His resolve falters, and his internal struggles are visible. Concerned by his state, his team steps in, trying to rally him, urging that he cannot sit idle. They remind him of the mission, of lives at risk, of their shared purpose. This push is essential to reviving his agency. 2. Waleed's intel powers the barbershop operation. Critical intelligence from Waleed empowers the barbershop operation to move forward. This intel may include location, timing, or confirmation of Makdisi's presence in the barbershop. With that, the Fauda unit gets the green light to act, to stake a strike at Nidal's hideout. The operation's planning, stakes, and logistics come into sharper focus. 3. Samir confronts Nidal. Samir, a militant associate, co-conspirator, confronts Nidal al-Makdisi. This confrontation likely involves questioning of loyalty, doubts, or challenging Nidal's leadership. Tensions in that relationship are exposed. Samir's confrontation may be motivated by fear, misgivings about Makdisi's direction, or self-preservation. This deepens the internal conflict among militants. 4. Abu Mar's discovery. Abu Mar, another militant figure, uncovers a critical piece of information. What he discovers may undermine Nidal, jeopardize operations, or reveal hidden betrayals. This discovery will have ripple effects on planning, trust, and control over assets or safe houses. 5. Doran reasserts himself. Pushed by his team and driven by urgency, Doran begins to act again. His mourning doesn't paralyze him completely. He steps into the operation, contributing force, leadership, or tactical decisions. The episode shows Doran balancing personal pain with professional responsibility. He must overcome internal struggle to do what the mission demands. 6. Operation readiness and tension. The barbershop operation is staged, Teams move into positions, surveillance, infiltration, or reconnaissance steps. Tension builds as the moment of action approaches, enemy watchers, possibility of leaks, morale, timing, and risk all amplify. 7. Cliffhanger, setup for next episode. The episode likely ends with the operation about to begin, or partially in progress, leaving viewers on edge. Actions that Doran, Samir, Abu Mar, and Nidal take here will define loyalties, consequences, and who holds initiative going forward. Themes and character insights. Grief versus duty. Doran's struggle shows how personal loss can challenge a mission, but duty and team loyalty often compel rising again. Intelligence is leverage. Waleed's intel turning point underscores that power in this war often lies in information, not just firepower. Loyalty under pressure. Samir's confrontation with Nidal highlights how alliances are fragile and often tested when stakes rise. Truths and betrayals. Abu Mar's discovery suggests that hidden truths can shift power unexpectedly. Rising from darkness. Doran's arc this episode is about climbing out of despair and re-engaging with purpose. Recap of Fauda Season 2, Episode 11, with spoilers. Fauda S2E11, Recap and Key Developments. Episode title, Synopsis. Rotten Tomatoes describes this episode as an operation to bring down Nidal backs the team into a lethal corner, Abu Mar makes a heart-rending decision, and Captain Aub learns critical intel. IMDb notes, barbershop operation, doesn't go as planned. Magdi finds himself isolated, it's him against the world, but he insists on moving forward with his large terror attack plan. Thus, Episode 11 is about things going wrong in the climactic operation, loyalty being tested, and characters forced into difficult choices. Major plot beats and scenes. 1. The barbershop operation goes wrong. The unit's plan to take down Nidal, Magdi, via the barbershop operation is executed. But complications arise. Either leaks, countermeasures, or unforeseen obstacles cause the operation to falter. The team finds itself trapped or backed into a lethal corner. Hostiles or militia forces may surround them, making extraction perilous. 2. Abu Mar's heartbreaking decision. Abu Mar, already a secondary militant character, is forced to make a deeply painful choice. That decision likely involves his loyalty, family, or betrayal, someone he cares about or responsibility he must weigh. This choice will have emotional reverberations and could affect alliances, trust, or the direction of the conflict. 3. Captain Aub learns critical intelligence. Captain Aub, on Doran's side, uncovers or receives vital information that changes his understanding or approach to operations. This intel may be about Nidal's plans, safe houses, betrayals, or hidden routes. This discovery may shift the balance of power, offering a glimmer of hope despite the failed operation. 4. Isolation of Magdi, his resolve. As the plan unravels, Magdi finds himself increasingly isolated. Allies may desert or hesitate, leadership may withdraw support, and he is forced to act without the backing he counted on. Yet he remains resolute. He intends to push forward with his terror attack plan regardless of the losses or obstacles. He doubles down on his ambitions. Themes and character arcs. Crisis under fire. When plans fail, characters are exposed, not only to physical danger but to moral choices under pressure. Sacrifice and consequence. Abu Mar's decision underscores that in war, some must sacrifice or betray to survive or protect what they value. Isolation and resolve. Magdi's determination, even when isolated, demonstrates how vengeance and ideology drive characters past rational limits. Power of intelligence. The data Captain Aub unlocks may shift the narrative. Information is often more valuable than force in these conflicts. Recap of Fauda Season 2, Episode 12, with spoilers. Fauda S2E12, Recap and Key Developments. Episode title, Synopsis. According to Rotten Tomatoes, the synopsis reads, Doran faces a fresh threat as the scope of Nidal's unfolding plan becomes clear, while the team and Abu Samara move to intervene before time runs out. The TVMA's episode guide adds, while the team scrambles to give Doran backup on his mission into the lion's den, Waleed makes a decision that could change everything. Abu Ahmad leans on Waleed to organize an immediate retaliatory attack, and Doran and Nurit go undercover to close in on their quarry. On Metacritic, the episode is summarized: Doran confronts Magdi directly. Thus, Episode 12 is the climactic season finale, the culmination of many threads, showing the full scope of Nidal's plan in the ultimate confrontation between Doran and Magdi. Major plot beats and scenes. 1. Unfolding of Nidal's master plan. The episode reveals how extensive Nidal Magdi's plan truly is. The danger is no longer localized, his plot may have lethal, wide-reaching implications. The magnitude of the threat becomes clear to all sides. His scheme likely involves terror attacks, infiltration, or strategies intended to force broader conflict or expose vulnerabilities. His capacity is no longer underestimated. 2. Doran's direct confrontation. The title, Doran confronts Magdi directly, suggests that Doran moves from pursuing the plot to personally facing Nidal. The conflict becomes face-to-face, not behind the scenes. This confrontation is a turning point, personal, strategic, emotionally charged. 3. Team and Abu Samara's intervention. As Doran enters the lion's den, his support team scrambles to provide backup. They coordinate responses, block escape paths, and attempt to contain the collapse of control. Abu Samara, a militant figure who sometimes acts as a broker or power broker, plays a key role, leveraging his influence in networks to intervene in the unfolding crisis. His decisions may alter how the finale plays out. 4. Walid's pivotal decision. Amid the chaos, Walid makes a decisive move, one that could alter the power balance. The guide says he makes a decision that could change everything. Walid's choice may relate to siding with or against Nidal, turning against allies, or leveraging state militant resources. This decision likely has moral, strategic, and relational weight. 5. Undercover moves. Doran and Nurit. Doran teams with Nurit, a fellow operative, to go undercover, getting as close as possible to Magdi's operation or command center. Their infiltration may expose critical nodes in Nidal's network. Their undercover move might put them at risk, trap, betrayal, or exposure looms. 6. Climax, resolution and aftermath. The confrontation between Doran and Nidal is likely the emotional and narrative peak. There will be violence, twists, revelations, and perhaps sacrifice. Allies may be lost, betrayals may be exposed, and the final balance may shift. After the climax, the episode likely wraps up the major threads: which characters survive, who holds power, and how Doran's life is changed by the outcome. Themes and character dynamics. Confrontation and accountability. This episode forces characters to face each other directly, no more shadows or deniability. Consequences of plans. Nidal's plot, once hidden, is now laid bare. The fallout shows how far ideologies and ambition will push people. Allegiance is tested. Walid's decision and Abu Samara's interventions highlight how shifting loyalties shape outcomes. Personal versus political. Doran's personal confrontation with Nidal mirrors the political warfare at play. His identity and mission collide. Sacrifice and cost. The season ends likely with losses of lives, trust, innocence. The toll of this war is made real. If you liked it, subscribe to my YouTube channel.